When I left university, I stressed endlessly about which path to take and which career to choose. I spent hours just thinking about different things that I could do. Should I choose finance? Should I choose consulting? Should I even go back and do medicine? These were the questions that plagued me. However, Bill and Dave, the authors of this book, Designing Your Life, think that we're all held back by this dysfunctional belief, which is that I need to figure out my best possible life, make a plan, and then execute it. But actually, we can reframe this problem as there are many great lives within me. I get to choose which one I build my way forward to next. There is no one best path. We need to stop thinking about how to get it right all the time and instead start designing our way forwards. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Tintin, and this is the 6th video about this book, Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. We talk about the tools and techniques needed to know how to build a life and a career that you really love. This process is called life design. In the last video, we spoke about how to generate lots of ideas so that we can never be stuck in our careers. But now we have lots of ideas, we can actually go about designing some lives that we'd want to live. Bill and Dave call these Odyssey plans. So one of the best ways to design your life is actually to design your lives. This is what the Odyssey plan is all about. And the Odyssey refers to Odysseus, the Greek hero who spent 10 years returning home to Ithaca after the Trojan War. We're going to design 3 different Odysseys, all with different conditions. We're going to be discussing how to choose one of the 3 lives later on in the video series. For now, we're just talking about generating 3 real alternate lives. So we're going to design 3 different lives over the next 5 years, because that is what Bill and Dave say is the right amount of time. They've done lots of these exercises with loads of different people at the University of Stanford where they work, and they say that 5 years is the best time frame to choose. The first life that we're going to design is called the thing you already do. So pretty simple. This is just the life that you're already living and what the next 5 years might look like. Or if you actually ended up doing that kind of hot plan that you've got ready and prepared, or that business you're going to start, or that new thing you're going to do, what might the next 5 years look like? This is important and deserves attention. The next one is the thing you do if the first option was suddenly gone. So this happens sometimes in life. Maybe you're working in a career and it suddenly becomes a bit like out of date, or the industry is no longer really exists, like, you know, DVD rentals. So what would you do if the thing you were doing, let's say you were consulting for the sake of argument, because that's what I was doing last year. Let's just say consulting suddenly stopped existing. What would you do? So you still have to do something, you can't do nothing, and you have to make a living as well. Which job, which industry, whatever would you choose? If you think that you can't come up with something, then you're wrong, because Bill and Dave say that they've done this with many students, and all of them can do it, even the ones who are convinced that they can't come up with 3 different lives. So what is the thing that you would do if your current path didn't exist? And then the final one is the thing you'd do if money or image were no object. So this is a bit of a classic. It's just, what would you do if money was no object and you didn't have to worry about anyone laughing at you or your reputation being tarnished by the thing that you do? What thing would you choose? And it's not to say that you should actually choose this thing. It's just about stretching your imagination, understanding what kind of things that you're really motivated by, and just imagining that lifestyle can be a really useful piece of information. Let's just take a quick example that they give in the book. Dave speaks to a young MBA student who is convinced that he doesn't have 3 ideas to generate. So Dave asks him, what are you doing now? He replies, management consulting. And Dave replies, okay, great, that's life number 1. But suddenly, all the CEOs in the world decide they don't need any more consultants and the industry disappears. What would you do then? The student goes, what? No consulting? That's so unfair. Consulting is the best. I'm just kidding. No one would ever say that. The student struggles to answer and says, well, if I can't do consulting, then I'd work in a big media company working on strategy and marketing. Dave says, great, that's life 2. What about if money and reputation were no object? The student says, well, really, I'd love to go into wine distribution. It always seemed a little silly, but frankly, it fascinates me and I'd love to try it. Dave says, okay, awesome, there are your 3 lives. So wine distribution is a bit random, but that's what the student chose. And if you can't come up with 3 ideas, then try this technique. Just go, what are you doing now? What would you do if that thing didn't exist? And then what would you do if money were no object? But don't overthink it and don't get stuck. Just do the exercise and get through it. Bill and Dave say it will literally change your life. So if you want to do this exercise, I've created a Notion template where you can fill out all your answers. So the link to that is in the video description. So when you're designing these lives, there are a couple of things that you want to do. You want to come up with a 6-word title for the life that you are living. For example, one they give in the book is All In, the Silicon Valley Story. Next, you want to create a 5-year timeline. So filling out years 1 to 5, including career and non-career events. What kind of things might be happening in your life? Then you're going to rate out of 10 a few things that are going to help you understand a bit more about this life. And so the first thing is resources. How easy is it going to be to pull this plan off? Then it's how much do you like the plan? Then it's how confident do you feel in the plan? How confident do you feel in being able to do it? And then it's coherency. So how coherent is it with your overall view of life and your life view and your work view that we created in a previous video? How coherent is it with your personal compass? Then you want to just write down some questions you have about the life, like, do I have the skills to do this, or is this too risky, and that kind of thing. So I wrote some Odyssey plans earlier. Here they are. You can take a look. You can pause the screen if you want to read them, but I just thought it'd be useful to show you so that you can feel better about whatever it is that you're writing. The final thing that Bill and Dave recommend doing is sharing your Odyssey plans with other people, because life design is a team sport and they can get a sense of what kind of lives you might want to live, and then as you explain them, you will actually get a sense of which ones excite you most as well. So far on this life design journey, we have reflected about where we are, we have figured out a little bit about where we want to go, we've figured out the specific tasks that energize, motivate us and engage us, and now we've come up with lots of different ideas of different things that we could do and come up with some real life examples of them. Now we're going to think about how can we prototype those lives? How can we figure out what these lives we've generated might actually look like? So click here if you want to watch that video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. And thanks Bill and Dave as well, utter legends.